What a rush. Obviously, yeah. You weren't listening to the Happiness is Easy playlist because if you were listening to the Happiness is Easy playlist, you'd have been here on time because 9 to 5 by Dolly Parton would have got you in the mood.
Sorry, I had to walk the dogs, so I had to walk up to the farm, get a coffee, come back, um, and make myself a cup of happiness. This is happiness tea.
Happiness tea, excellent. Loving it. Loving it. Ha. So, here we are. Happiness is Easy podcast. Covered a couple of topics today. I had a very interesting conversation, not a normal kind of conversation I have. I'd like to cover it today at some time, as well as whatever you have on your agenda.
Okay, well, I've got quite a lot on my agenda, but why don't we start with your story? Because that sounds interesting.
Well, I've been a mentor for 30 plus years, been a creative practitioner for 40 years. So most of the time, I'm doing the mentoring. It's me,
What what practitioner?
creative practitioner.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
What do you? So most of the time, I'm the person going like, "Hey, have you thought about this? Mhm. Have you thought about that?" Mhm. So it's very rare for me to be on the other side, to me to be the, for want of a better expression, mentee.
Yeah.
So I mean, so I had this meeting, and it was very interesting. You know how we all see ourselves in a particular way. We think we're presenting ourselves to the world in a particular way, and other people receive that information and that message, and they can interpret it any way they like. So what was said to me, which is very interesting, he said that I need to be more selfish, which is very interesting. And because I was, this came from the point of, like I said, it was a project idea I put forward. And I was saying, like, right, okay, my end goal is say my end goal is like level 8. I was going like, right, this is what I want to do, level 8. And but if the money isn't there for like level 8, if we have this much money, I can do level 1 and then stretch it up to level 2 and make it scalable and all these kind of things. And at the end, I thought I was going like, okay, because as a black person, a minority, underrepresented, I've the number of times I've been hired on potential is 3 times in 40 years. It's always a case like, what can you actually do? So I'm always going like, right, okay, what can I actually do? I'm not going in there going like, oh, I potentially do this. I'm very clear on what I can do. And the message I was getting back was, right, all this stuff that I'm saying about, I want to do level 8, but I can break it down to all the steps in between, depending. Says like, no, forget all that breaking it down step by step about the process, because the person receiving the information on the other end is going to assume that if all the money isn't there, adjustments will have to be made anyway, and people buy into the big idea. So that was very interesting.
Yeah.
And another thing I've been looking into is that why people do certain things, even though it might be not what they want to do, or sometimes against their best interests. And the things I've come up with are, there's people do things out of fear, obligation, and guilt. So then you start looking back, okay, oh, the things that you've done in your life, positive, negative, how many of them have been based on fear, obligation, or guilt?
Yeah.
Very interesting. Something that we should all percolate in our minds. So yeah, those are little nuggets I wanted to share with you.
Well, that really ties in with what I was going to say as well,
Hey,
because what you're talking about there is emotions, isn't it? It's the emotions that drive us.
yeah,
And you've named three quite negative ones. They're feelings that feel bad. They're the sort of um they are the easiest things to take control, but
mm,
they don't necessarily serve us that well.
exactly.
But they're very powerful.
Yeah,
And so um, um, you know that I did positive psychology, but it's really important to remember that positive psychology is not going think positive, be positive.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't mean positive in that sense. It's not like, hey, my life's one big false smile. Uh, it's it's about how psychology old school was taking something that was wrong and trying to fix it. So it was going from negative to zero. Whereas
Yeah.
positive is sort of going, okay, supposing everything's all right now, how do you make it better?
Yeah.
And so that's where it sort of ties in with what you just said about you can look at what emotions are driving you. And this is where it comes on, especially with what we're talking about today, because when you realize what your emotions are, and I'll come back to that point if I remember, um, you can actually create more positive emotions, and that makes you stronger. And then you
Hey,
pay more attention to them.
fantastic.
And you know, one of the ways that you can create positive emotions,
Tell me, Nicola. Tell me.
it's through being aware of how to change your mood or lift your mood. That's not to deny your mood, but you can deliberately create positive emotions. And there are lots of ways you can do that. And we're going to talk about one of them today, which is music.
Yay!
Unfortunately, Dominic has always been a musician and still is a musician and is our resident expert in all things music. But I have
But
to tell the listeners, he told me this week that the best song in the world was Agadoo by Black Lace. And we were supposed to be creating a Spotify playlist. And do you know what Dominic's contribution was? Agadoo by Black Lace. Dominic, talk me through.
okay, actually, no, there've been other ones. If you check carefully,
Oh, I
there is
haven't looked.
there's some ones that I've added. I put them at the bottom, but I've moved a few of them around. Now, so right, we're doing a playlist, Happiness is Easy playlist. So we have to think the tunes that we put on, yeah, what is the purpose of the tune? Yeah, is it a case of like you're a particular phase and you want to be happier, or is it a reflective position?
Well,
The
this
reason why
is
I asked this question is because the very first tune that you had on, which is why I moved Agad, which is why I put some other tunes earlier on. The very first tune you had on was "Thank You" by Alanis Morissette. Quite frankly, it's a bit down. I thought that was just me. I thought it was just me playing it to my missus. My missus went past the first 5 seconds. She went like, "It's a bit miserable. It's a bit miserable." I said, "Do you want to hear more?" She said, "No."
right. I'll tell you why. Because what I chose, but this is why I sent you the link so that you could move it around and edit it. Is I was trying to explore an emotional range. So
Mm,
because music has different purposes, some of
yeah,
it helps you explore negative emotions, which you don't have to dwell on, but you can acknowledge their existence.
yeah.
And other ones are for feel good music. And so Dolly Parton, for example, crazy choice, but I like the line, get myself a cup of ambition.
Yes, that's a very strong line, and so that's why I put it at the very first because I was thinking like if you get up in the morning, you've got to get up and go. 9 to 5, Dolly Parton,
Yeah.
Alanis Morissette. You might not get out of bed.
Delete it if you really think it's a downer. I thought it was quite good for emotional range.
There are tunes on there which are definitely for emotional range. Um, but getting back to Agadoo, right? Oh, I'm laying my musical credentials on the line here. I'm laying my musical credentials on the line. From a musical point of view, it's very addictive. Yeah, you're dancing away. You're dancing. You can't help yourself. You can't help yourself. Yeah,
Agadoo doo doo, push pineapple, shake the tree.
the basis of a classic happy tune, lyrics have got to make no sense. Lyrics have to make no sense. Universally make no sense. Upbeats, and anyone can join in.
Yeah,
So we
that's
talk. So we do talk about having putting a playlist together with lots of tunes that have emotional range. The order you can always change the order of tunes depending on how you're feeling. So it could be a case of like, oh, you're in a reflective mood. So actually, it might be Alanis Morissette saying thank you for this, thank you for that, might be perfect for you at that particular moment in time. Fix You by Coldplay on my list of depressing tunes of all time. That might speak to you at a particular moment in time. I
It does.
understand
It does. Shall I tell you why?
why.
Because I was working with a student who got stage 4 cancer. She was diagnosed at stage 4, and her sister stood up at a school concert and sang that song. And everybody cried. It raised loads of money for Teenage Cancer Trust. And the teenager in question is now 25 and working for Barclays and having a great life. And she recovered.
Fantastic. And that's the other thing about music is like we attach memories to music. So if you, the tune could be, could be uplifting, it could be a very downbeat tune, but if you have a positive emotion, a memory attached to that tune, it will speak to you and resonate with you.
Yeah. So we've got, I just, here comes the science. How music affects the brain. One, so it kind of goes along with what we're saying. One is the dopamine release. So if you're listening to music you love, so the upbeat, the happy, the things you might dance to, you're going to get dopamine, that feel good chemical. So that is an instant lift to mood. So that's the simplest, that's the kind of best. That if I put on my Dolly Parton in the morning,
Yeah.
and I get myself a cup of ambition,
Yeah.
it's sort of like
Oh,
actually my husband did buy me a mug with cup of ambition last week.
excellent. Excellent.
I can drink my tea out of it. But then there's the oxytocin, which is a different chemical in the brain, but that's kind of about social connection and trust. And you must get that playing with a band.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That it's a different experience. And it's a very communal thing. That you first of all, there's that link with the other musicians, and then there's that link with the audience as well. But you must have felt something similar when you were doing comedy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, but my husband plays in a band every week, and he says he absolutely loves being with his band because and they have such fun, even the rehearsals and everything. And but he says your awareness really heightens. There's something changes.
Hmm.
Suddenly you can hear all the different bits, and you're all working together and stuff, and it's something else.
Yeah,
Is that what you find?
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, I make music on by myself and in groups, and that it is playing with other people. The more musicians play with, it's greater than the sum of the individual parts. I mean,
Yeah.
there's something primeval about it, isn't there? I mean, that feeling that we get when we all do things together. It's we're hardwired for that.
Oh yeah, yeah. When you go to a concert, the
Mm.
feeling is just incredible being part of that crowd and all enjoying something together. It
Yeah,
gives you a high for days. And
yeah,
there's research that shows people who go to a lot of gigs are happier. They're more resilient because they've got that big positive high, and that
yeah.
can carry you a long way.
Mm.
Like you're surfing. Um, and then there's a third chemical. So these the three chemicals. We've got dopamine, we've got oxytocin, and we've got endorphins. So upbeat or rhythmic music, which isn't present in those downer tunes that I included, um, gives you a euphoria. A good dance beat. Like I put your um, mix on there.
Yeah.
That is all really uplifting. That is rhythmic music that you can. If I put that in the kitchen, I'm like, yeah, lifts my mood. So that's the endorphin. So it's lots of different things, and
Yeah.
there's more. But go on.
No, I mean, people on a deep level understand how happy, upbeat music lifts you up. But I think it's very interesting how, the downbeat music can lift you up. That's a very interesting thing, and I don't think it's. I don't quite understand it because my daughter, she loves a slow. I would call dirge, and she goes, "Oh yeah, this is really good. This is, and it lifts her mood." And I don't understand. I know we're all built differently.
We are, but it's music engages the amygdala, right? Which is the brain's emotional center. So if you listen to music that's taking you through lots of emotions, which is allowing you to process feelings of loss and sadness and disappointment or betrayal or
Mm,
jealousy,
mm.
then it's cathartic. It helps you process those feelings. So rather than being stuck and not knowing what to do with them, it lets them come out. You can explore them, you can let them go, you can release them instead of holding them and feeling tense and stressed. So
Mm.
there you get the lift in mood.
Excellent.
But back to the endorphin boost.
Back to the endorphin boost.
um the upbeat music affects the front part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, so actually makes you more focused,
Yeah,
which you know from if you go and listen to dance music, or I used to listen to it when I was out running, or rhythmic upbeat music, you feel amazing.
yeah, yeah.
I
Absolutely.
used to jump across the threshold when I'd been out running with good music and a rhythm. I used to come in and I was red faced, my hair was stuck to my head, and I just was like, "Come on, come on, world, bring it at me."
And then yeah, music is it's very interesting, like how we're hardwired for it. That thing about people that who have Alzheimer's and stuff, and you put on tunes, and then they all the memories get
Yeah,
linked back in, and they
yeah,
become more coherent and more.
yeah. There was a really amazing documentary about that, wasn't it? Where a guy could play his music and he could recognize tunes, but
Yeah,
he couldn't really do a great deal else.
yeah.
So there's something really powerful about it. And have, I don't know if you're a churchgoer, but I used to go to church. I don't currently, but I might go again. It's quite good for old ladies, apparently. Um, uh, but sometimes just singing as part of a group, I used to get this massive rush.
Yeah,
I used to think it was spiritual or God or something like that, but now I think
it's
that was a bit of an endorphin boost.
yeah. I've been in church choirs, and I've been in non-church choirs.
And how was that?
That was that thing of it's that thing about that communal thing of everybody singing together, especially, and I'm a bass baritone, so
How did
when you
I guess? And you know that I'm a soprano.
well, the thing about being a bass baritone is that not a lot of us about.
Yeah,
you join these choirs, loads of sopranos, loads of them, 20, 30, 40. And then it's just like, that's three bass baritones going like,
you're
okay,
not allowed a week off.
we've got to belt this out here.
The choir won't start. They're waiting. Come on, we're waiting for Dominic. He's not very well this week. What?
Oh dear.
Yeah. So tell us about music in your life, because you've always been a musician, haven't you?
I have. I've always been a musician. It's one of those things that I always wondered because like where did it come from? Because my dad was he wasn't into the creative arts at all. It was like, okay, there's education, and that doesn't include music. You can have as many books as you like. Guitars? What's that about? but, but, but then I suppose it's like many people, when you're at pivotal points in your life, you delve more into creativity, and then there's particular sorts of creativity which resonate more with you at that particular time. Then if you get positive strokes from that particular form of creativity, you'll probably go on with that form of creativity in some form for the rest of your life. And for me, it was a case of I was a musician. I'd hum tunes. I'd hum my own little tunes to myself, and then what happened is my A levels were really rubbish. So I had to repeat them. It was like all my friends at university. It's like, what am I going to do? So with a little bit of money I had, I bought a small synthesizer, which battery operated, and the rest is history. I recorded little them on my little cassette at home and da 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 da.
Pressing record and play at the same time.
Yes, press record and play at the same time. Try to do quick edits and
Yeah, I used to do that.
it's like that top of the pops technique, top 40 technique. It's like, okay,
Gotta get the DJ out.
cut the chat. The skills that you learn when you're younger and a teenager are still useful later on in life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
So, yeah, loads of parents and schools, in fact, and government, really trying to push STEM subjects. Science, technology, engineering, what's the M?
Yeah.
Something.
Mathematics.
Mathematics, yeah. Oh, that. Um,
that stuff. Yeah.
There is a movement to include art and to make it STEAM, because the
Oh,
creative industries in this country, that is one of our biggest things. One of the things the UK is actually really good and best at.
Yeah.
So why everyone's trying to push people away from the arts and suggest that they're not worth anything is ridiculous.
It's the money people are always short-sighted because everybody at one stage can do a version, right? Everybody has a go at painting and go like, oh, I can do this. It's quite easy. It's simple. It's because it's all innate in us. But to be really good, you've got to, about anything, you've got to put the work in. So people remember like, oh, I did that. I did a bit of painting at school. I enjoyed it. Da, 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 da. And then they go like, I'm gonna be a grown up now. I'm gonna do proper stuff. I'm gonna do accounting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna do
And it's
legal
time for
stuff.
me to go to an office and be bored every day.
Yeah. That's how to do proper stuff. And the people who go off and do the proper stuff and in charge of the money remember doing creative stuff and it being fun and easy, and then they packed it in to do supposedly grown-up stuff and forget that actually to be really good you have to be professional and really put the effort in, and they forget all that bit and just go like, oh right, oh creative stuff, nah. Even though they're sitting without creativity, they'll be sitting in grey clothes. Grey office. They wouldn't be sitting on chairs. They
In the
wouldn't be
grey
sitting
sky.
design that. They wouldn't have a table because somebody designed that. Somebody was creative and designed that. There'd be no clocks because somebody designed that.
Yep. Yep. So it's actually what ends up happening is those people are very stressed because they're not getting these positive effects of being in touch with their creativity, and so their cortisol level goes up, and they have stress and anxiety, and they go and work in their grey building in their grey suit, doing grey things, and then they can't sleep because they're stressed.
But also all these things are interlinked, aren't they? Because you've got to use both sides of your brain.
Yeah.
And so if you're just locked into one side, then there's something missing. And we've said earlier that music elevates everything. So if you actually want people to be more productive, then them being creative as well as the other STEM subjects is an obvious thing.
Absolutely, yeah. Because it's really, really important that scientists are creative, and because they've got to find solutions to stuff. They've got to save the world. Mathematicians have got to save the world as well. So they're going to have to be creative. Yeah, it's really, really important. But for their health as well, not just really important in how their brain works. Getting those connections fired up, but for health, like for heart rate, for pain management, everything. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, like, I know a woman and she's in permanent pain. Permanent pain. She I won't go into the details, but it's constant. And painkillers don't work. All that works is meditation and music. They're the only two things that work for her.
Yeah, it reduces the perception of pain,
Mm,
because pain is all about perception anyway.
yeah,
If you think about it, if you stub your toe,
yeah,
where you feel the pain is in your brain.
yeah, yeah,
And so if you shift focus in pathways through music, it helps,
yeah.
which is
It's
amazing, isn't
that thing with kids is like a kid will fall over and screaming, and then you distract them, and they
it? Forget about
they're
it.
in pain.
Yeah. Now I've got a story about music and health. My friend's dad, Bob Jones, um, he about 10 years or so ago, my friend Sarah got called to the hospital to come and say goodbye to him because he had some very, very serious health issue. And they
Mhm.
thought he had a couple of hours. So the family all went to say goodbye. Anyway, I'm not sure what happened, but he didn't die. And when he came out of hospital a few weeks later, he joined a choir. And now he sings every day, and he sings in a Welsh male voice choir. And he is touring. He is absolutely loving it. They're recording CDs. They've been on TV, and he's fine. And he's 77 or something like that. He's great, and he swears that music saved his life.
Did he wake?
Not the
I
only
mean,
one.
I mean, I've got to check. Is he Welsh?
No,
Did he wake up with a Welsh accent?
he might. I mean, his name's Jones, so he's probably got a Welsh heritage.
There's he was a Welsh in there somewhere.
It must be, yeah. I mean, he probably is back in the day because he lives out west, so it's probably
Yeah,
moved in a bit from Wales. But
yeah,
yeah, Jones is a Welsh surname, isn't it?
yeah. Fantastic.
Oh no, that's his daughter's name. He's Clark. Oh well, I bet
Oh,
this.
we shall assume we'll assume that he wanted to join the choir, and the closest choir was Welsh.
Maybe, or I think it suits his voice because he's quite It looks like he's got a big voice. So anyway, it's really really positive, and so um, music therapy is a well known thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what would your life be like without music?
Would it be a life? Would it be a life? Seriously, when you start, okay, if we need to get deep every once in a while, and it's a case of like, okay, what is a life? Right? It's not the night of what they say is like life is the thing that happens when you're busy
Making other
you're
plans.
busy making plans. So what the world, the Western culture is very focused on the work that you do. Oh, you do a 9 to 5 when then you don't do a 9 to 5, so you're retired and then you're useless. But you are you're made up of all the things that you do and are parents, all these things. But when it comes down to the nitty gritty, if you just focus on what are you all about as an individual, and a core part of me is a musician and a writer. It's my form of communicating with the world. And when I was recovering from my cancer, my dalliance with cancer, as I like to call it these days, my brain was mashed from the chemicals and the stress of everything, and I couldn't write, but I could make music. So making music was very helpful, got me through some dark times. Yes, I've had some dark times, believe it or not. I'm not this shiny happy person all the time, you know.
You don't have to be because you're a human. But what was the word you used earlier about music? You said something like primeval or something, something
Yeah,
like.
it's primeval.
So that you never lost that. That's kind of like embedded in your soul.
Embedded, yeah, it's embedded in me. So, so tired that sometimes you couldn't get out of bed, or you do get up and your energy drops, and then you've got the brain fog. So I can't write, trying to put a couple of words together to make sense. to the world doesn't work, but I could still create music. Put me in front of a piano, put me in front of a computer, I can create music. That was still hardwired into me. Still, I could still use that method of communication to the world.
Yeah. So there's something very special about it, isn't there? And there's so many different levels of it as well. So you can use it to like give it, well, you're talking about sense and purpose, aren't you? Like real deep meaning.
Yeah, because everybody has I said, everybody has a purpose, but most people don't discover what their purpose is because a lot of people don't manage to ring fence the time to just go like, right, okay, what am I here for? What am I all about? Because the way the world is geared, it's like rush, 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 9 to 5 or 8 to 8, da 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 da. Got to do
Don't
this,
think,
got to do
don't
this.
think, don't think.
Responsibilities, fear, obligation, guilt, pressure, do this, and that. And to actually slow down or even stop and go like, what is my purpose? That's not a thing that can take like a couple of hours. That might take years to come up with thinking like on a regular basis. What am I here for? What am I supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
And then
One of the ways,
if you say to someone, sorry for interrupting, but if you say to
yeah, no,
someone,
go for it.
I'm just going off for a think. Excuse me? Are you all right? You're not coming down the pub. No, I'm staying in. I'm just going to have a think. Do we need to have an intervention? No, I'm just going to have a think. Let's see what my purpose is in life. Hey, he's not coming down the pub tonight. We're gonna
Go on, let's go and get him.
let's go again. Something's up.
That is quite a difficult thing for people to carve out is thinking time. And there are some things that can make it easier, like journaling, going for a walk or a run.
Yeah.
Walk is more contemplative than running, but or just listening to some music that is conducive to thinking. Because not the stuff that makes you dance that just gives you the endorphin, which has its merits, but for thinking time there are things that you can kind of put in that won't make people think, no, we've got to stop this. But I love your explanation about sense of purpose and like reason and everything like that. And what I've been thinking of with this, when it goes on to Amazon, I'm creating some downloadable PDFs with like, I don't like the word toolkit, but that's the kind of thing that I'm thinking of.
What's wrong with the word toolkit? What's wrong with the word toolkit?
It's just overused.
Yeah, right, okay.
Maybe it's overused because it's a good word.
We'll call it not a toolkit.
Yeah, I'm gonna think about what to call it.
That's the perfect antidote. In quotation marks, not a toolkit.
Yeah, be as ironic as happiness is easy.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So, because in that I was gonna put like exercises where people can think of what their real values are. So, like, that helps you find your sense of purpose and meaning. Because I think you're so right that loads of people don't ever get there.
Yeah.
They're just busy. They're just doing. Yeah. They're doing, not being.
Exactly, doing, not being. So if they look at the not a toolkit on a regular basis and going like, right, I'm having my thinking time, or actually whilst they're going for their run or their walk, they're contemplating the questions on the not a toolkit. They do that over a particular period of time, they'll get closer to finding out what their true purpose is.
Yeah.
Not the one that's been imposed upon them.
Or at least sort of knowing that if you know that you're doing what's important to you, then it's easier to ride out difficult times.
Yes, absolutely.
Your stories is such a classic thing that I can't think of a much darker time than having a serious cancer. And you used music because that's like who you are. And that helps you. That's a great example.
So that doing that is completely separate from like, okay, right, I've made the music, I'm sharing it with the world. Oh, how many people like it? How many people buy it? How many people have I performed to? That it's a different that those are things outside of my control to a certain degree, right? But me as a person, as an individual, my sense of being, my purpose, one of the things that I do that is fundamental to me is communicating through
Music. Yeah,
music.
yeah, it's brilliant. I've read a book about this.
Hey!
But how would you suggest that like people um use music to boost their happiness if it because they can do it even if they're not musicians, can't they?
Well, everybody can sing along to a tune, right? And it's irrelevant if you hitting the notes or not. Oasis, for is a prime example. Liam Gallagher, pick any note, doesn't have to. I think those songs are deliberately designed to be sung along drunk because
Yeah, they are. They're stadium songs, aren't they? So that's exactly what they're for.
so it doesn't actually matter about whether you can sing or not. What matters actually is your vocal participation because the mere fact of you humming along activates parts of the brain, you singing activates, gets your lungs working, gets the blood pumping around the body. So the actual activity of engaging with the music is what matters.
Yeah, brilliant. And there's hardly anyone that's actually tone deaf
Mm,
because loads of people claim to be tone deaf because they think they're not very good singers and they feel self-conscious.
yeah, yeah,
Apparently, the percentage of people who are actually tone deaf is really tiny.
yeah,
I can't remember what it is, but it's less than 5%.
yeah.
Um, which means that actually everyone can do it.
Yeah, it's a cultural thing, isn't it? It's like, okay, oh, and especially like music is getting smaller and smaller in schools. Like, oh, right. And there's that thing of like, oh, you're not very good at that, so don't do it. You can't
Yeah,
enjoy it.
yeah, that's insane, isn't it? I'm really upset about how they're pushing music aside in schools.
Oh yeah, yeah. I know people who've been on music courses and then they suddenly got cut and all sorts of things. It's crazy. And then there's the other thing about people being tone deaf. It's like when it depends what you call tone and what your sphere of reference is. Because if you go to other parts of the world, like Mongolian scales, for example, if they listen to like out, Western music, they go like, oh, man, that's out. Those pictures are out. What are they doing? Whilst you listen to Mongolian music, go like, oh, that's something else. So it all depends on your frame of reference.
Yeah, yeah. Because your wife loves a Kaylee, doesn't she?
She was the president of the International Folk Dancing Society at university. I was laughing about this the other day. I was writing about it when I wrote my memoir. I'm like, our third date was she said like, oh, I'm going to take you dancing. I'm going like, oh, okay, great, that's fantastic because we met in South America. So like, oh, we're going to go to like a flamenco dancing or something like that. Are we going to go like salsa like we heard in Brazil? She takes me to this international folk dance. It's all Bulgarian and Hungarian stuff. I'm just going like, yeah, I mean, you're having a laugh with me, aren't you? You're trying to test. You're trying to test my commitment to this relationship. Three dates in. That's. What are you trying to do? Or you're trying to get rid of me. So one or the other.
I think that's
So yeah,
brilliant.
she's still into that sort of music, and there are a couple of tunes that we cross over on, and I will add one of these to the playlist because earlier today she said, "Oh, we should add that tune to the playlist." And I'm going like, "Well, hey, not sure, not sure, but hey, as she's my wife, there's some things I've got to do with it."
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so the
Is,
playlist.
is, is that fear? Is that obligation? Is that guilt?
No, that's love.
That's love. Okay.
That is appreciating the love you have for your wife,
There we go.
showing your love in doing something.
Absolutely.
So that is a good thing. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
none of the bad things. That is love. Um, so the playlist. Because I didn't get to talk to you about it before, I just thought, well, I'm going to make it and give him access to edit it, and he can do what he wants with it.
Yeah,
Um, but
well, there's 60 plus tunes on there, so we can move them around, chat about them. It's gonna be fantastic.
yeah, fantastic. Because some were for emotional goals, some were for active listening, some were for passive listening, some were for reflection, some were for movement and music, and some were just upbeat. So I was trying to mix it up because I thought a challenge is for people to think about what the different tunes mean to them
Absolutely. And
and
there
what
will be
is
there
on.
will be a PDF associated with that, which is the toolkits.
I think I'm going to call it not a toolkit.
It's gonna be called not a toolkit. That's how it's gonna be called, not a toolkit.
It's
That's
like
what,
there's some words that I really, really just really annoy me, and I don't know why I've got beef with them. But I don't like the word goals. I don't like. I don't like toolkit. It's
yeah.
just they're kind of like markety speak.
Yeah, which is just what the same way that this podcast is called Happiness is Easy, because it isn't. Is exactly the same reason why we should put things as like these are not goals, these are just suggestions. This isn't this is tasks. They're just like subtle hints that you should do.
I see. I prefer hopes to goals, but some people think that's too passive and say, "Oh, it's just that's just a wish list."
No, but the thing to do is you put a little hope asterisk, see asterisk, right? In the footnotes, it goes, wow, this it's a hope, but you can call it a task if you want to.
Well, in positive psychology, hope is kind of goals, but it's calling it hope. There's this whole theory around it, which we can talk about another time. I won't go into it now. But uh, how do friends of yours feel about music? Do they feel like you do about it?
Well, we've all got friends who are into music into different ways. Some people are into it just a little bit. Some people are into it a lot. No, and music resonates with people at different times. Bit like poetry, isn't it? When people can go fine and go like, "Oh, I'm not into music," but then when there's an emotional resonant peak or trough in their life, they go like, "Oh, I need something to reflect or help me through this particular moment or enhance this particular moment of time."
Yeah,
Go like, "Oh, I'm not into poetry. Oh, my daughter's, just been born. Oh, right. Oh, suddenly some poetic words connect."
yeah.
So,
That's interesting that you mentioned poetry because I think people are far more ready to accept music than they are poetry.
yeah,
People seem a bit scared of poetry for some reason.
it's just words, isn't it?
Poetry, it's just words, isn't it?
Yeah,
Love it.
I've got a photographer friend of mine. He takes my shots for like my promo shots and stuff, and he was just going like, "Yeah, it's just like it's poetry. What's it about?" And I just said to him like, all I do is just throw words at the page, move them around a bit, see what happens.
That's brilliant. Yeah, that's what you have to do. I'll make a PDF. Um, uh, I think I've told you before about doing a Dylan Thomas poem with a class of kids who were quite difficult and quite low achieving,
Yeah,
and it was
yeah,
the one about rage against the dying of the light.
yeah, yeah,
And this kid who didn't normally sort of take part in the class just goes, "Miss, he is well angry, isn't he?" I
yeah.
nearly danced out the room. I was like, "Yes, he is well angry." So he suddenly got it. It was like, wow, yes, he is well angry. Don't write that in an essay. But no, he should have written that in an essay. But yeah, yeah, it's but no, people are more resistant to poetry because I think they think it's highly intellectual and scary.
Yeah. Well, it is. I mean, that's
Well,
what
some
I've
of
been
it
telling
is.
everybody. I'm highly intellectual and because I'm a
And
poet.
scary.
And scary. Makes baritone voice. Oh. No,
Yeah.
but that's that thing, isn't there? Language is very easy to keep things separated from people where by using language. Latin's a perfect example. Oh, like we'll put a quote in some Latin. Oh, look at my that's and then you translate it just goes like try hard.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Well, that,
I think we need to translate happiness is easy into Latin. My daughter's a Latin fan. I'll get her to do it, or put it into Google or something.
Google.
That'll be on every PDF. Like,
A Latin version for those who want to improve their brains by
yeah,
by learning a language, by learning a founding language.
yeah.
Um, so I think that what how are we doing for time? What time is it?
Oh, we could, hey, well, we 50 minutes.
50.
Yeah, 50.
Oh God, we better start wrapping up.
Yeah,
Um,
well, you think we should wrap it up now?
well, at some point, but I think music's such a big topic. There's so much that we haven't even really started, so we'll have to come back to this.
Absolutely, we're going to come back to it.
Yeah. Um, Fun facts. I've got some fun facts.
All right.
Babies respond to music before they're even born. They recognize melodies they hear in the womb.
Correct.
So that is how fundamental
Yeah.
music is to us. And then fast paced music can improve reaction times and focus.
Yeah.
And I found this that on like on Spotify, if you put music for focus, there's loads of playlists that help you concentrate. So if you're trying to do something, you can there's a playlist. Someone's made a playlist. It might not be any good, but And there's lots of diseases, but particularly people with Parkinson's diseases. When you get Parkinson's, you can suddenly find it hard. You can forget how to walk,
Yeah. Yeah.
stuff like that. You can forget how to put one foot in front of the other, and you especially stop using your facial muscles and stuff. People they stop smiling.
Yeah.
Um, but they have improved movement and coordination when they're listening to rhythmic music. So I just thought that just backs up everything you've been saying. It's just so in all of us. It's so innate.
Yeah.
That,
Fundamental. Fundamental. So everybody needs to get back in touch with them, the musician inside them,
yeah,
just by humming along to a tune,
yeah.
singing along when no one's looking. If you feel shy.
I'll just tell you my music story, uninvited. When I was at school, I wanted to be in the choir because I always loved music. I was always listening to music. I was always spending all my money on music and everything like that. Wanted to be in the choir. The teacher walked along and chose who could be in the choir, and I wasn't picked. I wasn't allowed to be in it. And then I wanted to play the flute, and so we could all go along, and we got given the top of a flute. And if you could do that thing and make the sound, then you got to play flute. And I couldn't do that. They only gave us a couple of minutes, so I wasn't allowed to play the flute. So I just thought, oh, right, okay, I'm no good at music then. So it took me till I was in my 30s and I was married to someone who does music a lot. He's not a professional musician, but he's really into music. And he said, you can sing, because I was always singing at home. Why don't you go and get some singing lessons and, do something with it? So I did. And I did my exams. I did my grades because I had to have a certificate to tell me that I did enough, because I'd had all these years of thinking I was rubbish at it. I needed to go through my certificates. And now
Yeah.
I go and sing at a folk night.
I said it 1,000 times. When you're a child, I view it as like triple points. Because you're so receptive as a child, you say something, you're told something, and it just sticks with you. It gets down, it becomes indelible, it becomes a part of you, and it gets really hard to get that removed. Because so many times it's just wrong. It's just like, well, how can you decide that whether to play the flute or not, or just one go?
Well, I can do it now. So if they'd have given me a bit longer,
But, I mean, just going like, okay, here you go. I mean, play that. What? Not playing the flute now. Excuse me. I'm like, my son played the flute. I made him go. I just playing the flute is rock hard. I mean, I remember when he started, it was terrible. Not much better now, but it's, it's not easy to get that whistling technique together.
No,
It's not easy. Nobody gets it first go. Nobody gets it.
no. So my musical things at school were closed down to me. And you just accept that if you're a child. You just think, oh, I'm no good.
You just go like, oh right, these big people know.
That's what makes me so sad that music is being underfinanced in schools because it's so
Yeah,
important for all the reasons that we've been talking about.
yeah,
And then they're wondering why there's mental health issues in school.
exactly.
Um, so yeah, that's quite sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think I'm feeling a bit teachery today, so I'm going to set listeners' homework. This is your homework. Try and create an emotional first aid playlist. And we can invite people to add stuff to the playlist. Or are we going to retain editorial control?
Yeah, they can add stuff. They can add stuff. Then the playlists get longer and longer and longer and shorter and shorter and longer and shorter and longer and shorter. People can vote on whether Alanis Morissette should stay in. You know what I mean?
I'm quite happy for Alanis Morissette to come out. I really don't mind. I can listen to Alanis Morissette on my own terms.
Excellent. Excellent. Shall we wrap it up there?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay then.
Okay.
Fantastic stuff.
Thank you very much, Dominic. Professional musician, superstar, music expert. So that's amazing.
And Nicola, who has performed choirs and performs regularly at a folk night, married to a musician, and one better than me because she has singing certificates.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Fantastic. All right. Till next time. This has been the Happiness is Easy podcast. Me, Dominic, and Nicola. Over.
Bye bye.